It was good. Again, I do not usually do movie reviews, and I do not do face videos that often. But I just saw Tiger King. We have to talk about Tiger King. All right. So for those who know me, you know I love politics. I love pro wrestling. Why the hell does Tiger King remind me so much of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton? Did anybody else get like this deja vu 2016 vibe watching this thing? Holy crap, man. It's like the level of debauchery, pure confusion, and sycophantic narcissism between Joe Exotic and Carolyn just exposes so much wrong with how we live our day-to-day lives. Because people love to use these hyperinflated figures and characters and compare ourselves because at least we're not that bad. But dude, we are. Like, how many people don't pay their taxes because they feel like to this day that's like robbery or something of that nature? We don't pay off our debt. We have terrible credit because we borrowed money, whether it was a student loan or not. We borrowed money that we couldn't pay back. You know, or we at least don't want to make the minimum payment. And I'm saying it because I've been there. These two, Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic, it's just like, so first off, like, they're the exact same person. It's like a mirror of just looking at yourself when you first wake up versus knowing what you look like when you put on your best outfit to go out, you know. They both lose a tremendous loved one in their life. And they've both moved on like so quickly from that. I'd say at least Carol found a more stable partner, but he's just as like clueless as everybody else dealing with this woman who may or may not have killed their husband. I won't like allege to that, but she's definitely just as like wrong about this whole tiger thing as everybody else is. Everyone inside this like documentary is, I guess I would love to sit down and have a beer with them. They're like crazy fucking people, though. It's like the people that you have a drink with at the bar, and then when they're like, hey, we're gonna go back to our place and party, you're just like, I don't drink moonshine. I don't do meth and I don't do moonshine. Those are two ends that I don't indulge myself in. Can you imagine if Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin spent all that time and energy actually working together? You know, trying to see what the other side thought and considered, you know, taking Carol's ideas if she wasn't just trying to destroy people's lives, you know, greed and greed and greed. And then Joe's pride. It's like every single person in there just represented one of the seven deadly sins, and not in a cool anime type fashion, in a very like physical manifestation of this homunculus living inside this perpetual circle in which all this is just accepted, all this is just normalized. That's the comparison to every single day life, because the beginning of it and the end of it, we're all doing that. You know, if you're conservative, you think anything that's not conservative is wrong. And it's not just closed-minded, but it's just, that's what gives off the negative vibe of being conservative. And if you're liberal, you think anything that's not liberal is wrong. And it's the exact same thing, it's vice versa. But we never see it that way when it's us. It's always the other side. It's always, and what this thing displays is just, okay, so like pride, lust, greed, definitely, but wrath. And that's what blew my mind, is like how much money was spent and invested doing this whole tiger thing. You know? It seems like if we would have just left the tigers where they were to begin with, and we didn't have like this weird white supremacist culture of hierarchical supremacy in which you have this aphrodisiac obsession with baby tigers, but when they become full grown tigers, you want to shoot them. Kind of reminds you of how we deal with black people and everyone else that's not white in this country. And that's really what it exposed to me, was that we keep making these people our celebrities, our heroes, our most notable figures. You know, we keep pushing this like mindless, traumatic, just drama on top of people. And I like that it did show positive lights and sides of both Joe and Carol. It was nice to have like that kind of humanizing thing with Joe doing a whole Thanksgiving dinner, and he's broken up over Travis. But let's talk about Travis. You know, like you have this guy who did not ask for this life, was not gay, being manipulated and sodomized by this guy for 4 years until he kills himself. And it's like, it's not just the idea that these people have just gotten over it and kept going on with their lives and kept moving forward. Yeah, I'm sure they're still scarred and traumatically hurt, but the documentary just kind of like speed bumps over that. Like, we gotta mention this guy. We've been showing you all these videos of him as if you're gonna get a soundbite or an interview of Travis, but no, we're just gonna, like, the whole thing was so medialized and reality TVS that even like the real deaths in this, the actual victims in this, are cast aside so we can focus on this hyper dramatized feud between Carol Baskins and her butt buddy, basically Joe Exotic. You know, it's like they're like an old married couple that swing and they just can't get back to where they were. I think it's terrible that Carol has to live the rest of her life being accused or being sullied with the idea of having murdered her husband. I think if people were a little bit wiser with who they choose to marry and the lifestyles they choose to live, they wouldn't be in those kind of suspicious situations to begin with, you know? And I think that's more reason why they should have found some way to make some middle ground and some peace. But it seems like we're so resistant to do that. We don't try to make peace. We don't try to forgive. We don't try to see the other side. It's like it's like Christians sometimes. Like they just reject people from Christianity and push them away. You can't be a valid Christian. You're not a real Christian. Well, you might be a real Christian. And it's like, why do you have this exclusive club when I understand that Jesus did only come to save a certain few? I'm not going to deny that. But the idea of these characters and figures, these messiahs, or the only messiah, is that he's here to save everybody. So I felt like watching this, it was terrible. It was like entertaining as hell, you know? But as far as like for my personal sense of morality, humanizing these people, getting to know and relating to these people, and then finding out the horrific, terrible things that they did, it just like drops the bar in human morality until you keep comparing, well, at least I'm not bad as this person. At least I'm not bad. At least I'm not Carol Baskins. At least my marriage isn't like that. You know, you're not going to kill me with a tiger. You might stab me in my sleep, but you won't kill me by a tiger. You know, that's... We keep glorifying this, though. This thing, the only reason I watched it to begin with was it was so huge out of nowhere. It just got so big. But it's like, it's that kind of thing where, like Avatar. Not Avatar The Last Airbender, of course not, we're not talking about that one. Avatar, where it's filmed to be a blockbuster. And it's just like my mindset on that. You think of everything that's going on right now. $1.7 million going to millionaires, billionaires, all that kind of stuff. And the plebs The plebs fighting over the measly $1,200. That sucks. You know, Carol Baskin wants to save these tigers and save. But if you do look at her compound and where they're doing their thing, it does look terrible. It does look very tacky. And if you have $20 million, you don't gotta live like that. You don't gotta dress like that. You don't gotta carry yourself like that. It's like you can tell that it wasn't her money, but just the way that she continued to do this really petty, tacky, poverty minded, scarcity minded campaign tactics, all this mentality. That instead of thinking that by introducing people to baby tigers and things of that nature, not as Joe Exotic does it, because that Joe Exotic just reminds me of like an old school freaking slave master. You know, oh, this isn't for them. You know, this is for anyone that tries to steal one of my properties. Dude, you're insane. But that reveals the whole thing. Like the whole system in which we live in is this same like propagation of these vaudeville characters were either barred from working, you know, to lower our morality and self-esteem, so that when we're reintroduced to the workforce, we'll settle for way less than our worth and desire, just to have a job, just to have an opportunity again. Or hopefully we've gained some skills, gained some knowledge in the time to re-enter and do our thing properly. The amount of money that they spent. People are going crazy over $1,200, $1.7 million. Can you imagine if you had like the $20 million, the $5 million that had to have gone into like this cause? Can you imagine having a zoo, a whole freaking zoo, and you think the only thing that you can do is just keep pumping out baby tigers because you don't know yourself how to deal with grown tigers? I would say on the moral side of things, I guess Carol Baskin is absolutely freaking correct. Because just like looking back at our own history in America, we did the exact, well, I can't say we because I didn't do that shit. I didn't coincide with it. I don't think it's cool. But we were conquered. The whole world was conquered. There's no way you could have stolen or all this other crap you want to. It was conquered. You know, and that's what they do to these tigers, that's what they do to these alligators, that's what they do to all these deadly exotic animals, is that it makes them feel like they're higher on totem pole, makes them feel manly. It's all these false expressions of what it means to, if you got a penis, you're a guy, that's it. It's that simple. If you take one off and put the other one on, I guess you can call yourself whatever you are now. Zer, her, whatever. It's like this, it just brought so much to the table, and it tries to force you to like think that this is just about tigers and what's best for the tigers, but it's not. It's like how these people all have these harems and these cults and the same type of, it's like basically at the very end of it is like that same mentality they have of trying to manipulate and train and control these tigers. It's the exact same way that they begin treating people. You know, this idea that, oh, well, they're not really that dangerous. And when they get big enough, people get very angry, but they're so sweet and so cuddly, my little cubs and kittens. Or, I'm not going to try to do Joe Exotic's voice. I'm just not. I don't like the guy. I just don't. Travis meant too much to me. I was hoping that Travis got away. Maybe Travis became a movie star or a basketball player. I went to school in Kent State. This is where I'm just gonna end it. I went to school in Kent State. Nice area, lovely. But you get to meet some people there. And you get to see black people dealing with poverty because they post that everywhere. That's all you grow up seeing is black people in poverty. Once again, to make you feel better about your life, so you never actually help or figure out how to solve the issue of poverty. You're just happy that you don't have that kind of poverty, you know. But you see white people living in poverty. You see people like Carol Baskins, you see people like Joe Exotic, and these are the people that have been running our country for a very long time. So don't be confused and don't be fooled. Pulling these $1 million deals, $50,000 deals. If we could do that to build schools, to build farms, to build, everyone gets a garden or something of that nature, the world would be a very different place. The fact that our priorities aren't even remotely geared towards focused on, and we're not even trained as a society to focus and think like that, it's startling. I just the fact that they took this Travis kid, and the entire world ahead of him, everything possible, a guy like that, everything in his gas. I was in Pike 2, a guy like that in Pi Kappa Alpha or Delta, you have no idea the potential of life that was there. And it's gone forever. Just like all those tigers that didn't make it. And it's like they're sitting there. And the reason why I don't like Joe Exotic is because when we attempt to accuse somebody, we expose ourselves. Truly and honestly. We either expose where our line is and maybe how maladapted we are to society, or just how nitpicky we are with everything around us, or just how chill we are, or how we actually conquered and overcame. With Joe Exotic, his entire attack on Carol Baskin is not, I do not do the things that she's accusing me of. That's not what's bothering him. He's in prison and he's in the situation he's in because he did exactly what she accused him of doing. Whether or not his claims and how he's propagated and how he's pushed what she's done, he's guilty. She's guilty of a million things too, I imagine. But man, it's just if he could have just humbled himself, worked with that woman, and figured out what was going on, and I guess that's intrinsic in a lot of our marriages, they could have really changed the world for tigers and people's relationships with tigers. But the fact that it's just two, I'm just gonna, redneck hillbillies basically, haven't had it hoss for the entertainment of America, it's just kind of shameful what we deem as entertainment. I mean, I watched it too. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome TV. It's great TV, but I didn't learn anything from it. I didn't get anything out of that to apply to my life. And it's like this new thing going on where you just lose faith in people, lose faith in people, lose faith in people. For the past 7 years, that's all I hear people saying before they're old enough to drink, before they're old enough to even start a 401k or anything else of that nature, to do real things in the world. I hate people. Everything's terrible. There is no God. It's how do we get this way? But then you look at Tiger King, you look at Power, you look at Pretty Little Liars, Big Old Liars, you look at this stuff that's on our television, and I don't care whether or not you're trying to push a gay agenda, liberal agenda, conservative agenda, you have freedom of speech to do that. You can't be mad at someone's ideology. You can be mad at someone's practice, you can be mad at someone's behavior, you can be mad at their paradigm, but you can't be mad at what someone thinks. Unless they're thinking some really sick, disgusting, perverted, sadistic things, then that person's in hell all their own, The reason why people like Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic are so bad is Carol represents this pseudo upper crust where people call them elite, but it's just old money. That's a better word for it, old money. And old money got an expiration date, sadly. If new money don't know what to do with it, old money go away real quick. She's just these people that coronavirus hits, 10 million people at this point are unemployed. Rents still due. Bills are still due. You know, businesses are still open. Commercials are still flying at you on a day-to-day basis. It's just these people that they don't know how to let up. They don't know how to let up. They don't realize how out of touch they are. They don't realize how far removed their reality of what they think they can do with their money versus what they should actually do with their money has fully diverted them. And sadly, when those people die, like Carol Baskins, they'll have no one to give that money to because the lifestyle that they live is as fake nice as they try to be, as much as Papa John's wants to be a daddy, you know, it doesn't work. People see through it, and that's exactly why she's under suspicion. That's exactly why people will never trust Hillary Clinton. You know, lesser of two evils is still choosing between evil. With Joe Exotic, he just represents this, like, I think it's like fully aware that he's playing a character, but just this like unrelenting stupidity and narcissism that just has completely eroded the moral fiber of our society. When people believe that America stands for what it is like these are the exact same people that had slaves, that ran laissez-faire capitalism, that were bootlegging, that whenever they were told not to do something, they just say, oh, I'm American. And then last time I checked, I was an American. I can do whatever I want. And last time I checked, it didn't work out that well. Just facts. Just facts, just facts, just facts, just facts. It might work well for a few, but it did not work well for anybody else that had to deal with people with that kind of mentality. I love the Constitution. I did not see anything about this that involved the Constitution besides having guns. There's nothing in the Constitution about exotic animals. I think maybe we have laws for that outside of those. I'm pretty sure there's laws depending state to state what goes on, and they're trying to make federal laws, but then you get in this whole republic thing. Damn, man. We really lowered the bar with this one. And the more that we fetishize about it, we obsess ourselves over it, let's step me out for ourselves. So if you learn anything from Tiger King, learn that if someone's really opposing you to that degree, really reflect upon yourself and see why. Why is this person opposing me? Why is this person distancing himself from me? Why does this person feel the need to ruin my to stop me from doing the thing I'm trying to do? I won't say ruin your life, because sometimes not doing what you want to do is the best thing for you. If you had 20 drinks, you don't need 25. You're done. You don't have to impress anybody after that point. Joe Exotic just represents this hyper narcissistic, the American that everyone really hates. That you try to love them as much as you can, but then they start talking and they themselves start crossing that line of tolerance and decency, and they try to join one of these protected groups to protect their freedom of speech, to hide how racist or how hateful or how negative they are, and they create more of these supported safe space groups to hide how racist and maladapted that they are. And, you know, it's just not going to work. It just don't work. So I hope you get your $1,200, and I hope you don't give it back to the government one day. I hope that you're able to pay it back next year when they ask it for you. I'm sorry, because it's just facts, man. Because if you watch Tiger King, you're probably waiting for that $1,200 check so bad. Read a book. Preferably my books.